welcome to this live stream. Thank you so much for joining. I believe this is my second live stream I've done on this Facebook page. So thank you so much for everyone who has watched the previous and also this one. So today's live stream will be very different from the first one. So in my first live stream, I stream a game and then I taught you guys how to play Minesweeper. So for today's live stream, it's something completely different. So today we're gonna talk about a specific topic, which is challenges when teaching Gen Z. So this is a topic that maybe you teachers can gain a lot of info about. So I hope you guys stay and watch the whole stream.
Alright, so let's get started. So, as I mentioned earlier, and as some of you have seen the poster, our topic for today is challenges when teaching Generation Z. So I've prepared a special presentation slide, to explain my 4 points on why teaching Gen Z is very hard and challenging. So let's get started. The first point is using technology in classes. Now, why is this a challenge again? So, most students of Generation Z are very tech savvy. They know how to use computers, they know how to use laptops and phones better than most teachers. Personally, as a Generation Z myself, growing up, I used to always be online. I used to always be on my laptop. So because of that, I have more knowledge, I think, compared to the older generation when it comes to using technology. So because of this, students expect the use of technology when learning because they're so used to having their computer or smartphones to learn at home, especially with ODL right now. Everything is online. If they want to learn something, they just go to YouTube or they could just search on Google on that specific topic and it'll come out. So because of this, students would expect teachers to use technology in the classroom, which is a challenge because all the teachers, they may lack experience or knowledge in using technology. So they won't know what to use, what equipment is appropriate, what websites they should go through. For example, back in my old school, I remember some teachers, they didn't even know how to use Microsoft Excel. So my dad was a teacher at my old school. So sometimes when I help him with work, he would tell me stories of teachers saying they don't know how to use Microsoft PowerPoint, Excel, they don't know how to do this, do that. So it's hard when teaching Generation Z because they have these high expectations for teachers to use game-based websites in class. But these some teachers, they don't know how to even incorporate that into their lessons. So it's hard because back in the old days, these teachers, they don't rely on technology to teach. So students of Generation Y, I think before Generation Z, it's millennials and then it's either Y or X, I forgot. But when teaching those students, teachers would not need to use technology. As long as you have a whiteboard or blackboard, it's enough for the students. They just write everything in front. Even assignments don't really need technology. You just have the students write an essay and then that's it. So yeah, when teaching Gen Z, that's one of the challenge. Using technology in class is very hard for some teachers, especially the older ones. So the last point is inadequate equipment. So some schools, especially in rural schools, they don't have appropriate equipment for every single class. So again, an example for my old school, the only room I remember that had a projector was this one specific room next to the library. I forgot what it's called, but basically that's the only room inside the school where students can access to use the projector. And then you have to book that room a day early. So imagine if that school had 50 classes. I forgot like how many classes were in my school, but like for one form, I think it had like 6 or 7 classes. So just multiply that to like 6, because we had standard 6 in our school. So like imagine like all that classes, and only like one class can use that specific room for like a specific amount of time. So yeah, like most classes, back in my time, we just like learn in class. We didn't use technology at all because we did not have the equipment. Basically, like even like in the classroom, even the fan didn't work sometimes. So like to have computers or like a projector in the classroom was like a fever dream to us. So yeah, this is why using technology in classes is a challenge for teachers when teaching Generation Z. I also like to say that sometimes even the parents, they expect teachers to use technology in the classroom, but then again, they don't realize that it's not an easy task to do. So yeah, our second point is finding students' interest. Now, finding students' interest is very important because like when you're teaching, you want to make sure your students pay attention to the lesson. And a way to do that is by having topics or making the lesson about a student's interest or something they like. So this is a challenge, especially when you're teaching Gen Z, because like every generation they have different interests. So like if you're a teacher from Generation X, for example, if you're in your 40s, the the interest you may had when you were a student is different from the generation like now. Like I am a Generation Z. I am part of the Generation Z, and my brother, my later brother, he's 8. He's, I think the newest one is called Alpha. He's Generation Alpha. We have different interests, and then I don't really understand sometimes what his interest is. He likes like to play games like Fortnite and stuff. So like yeah, even like we're not like that far apart. Even then, we still have like different interests. And then trends also constantly change. So like if you're a teacher and then you do some research and you think, oh, this is a trend, maybe I can apply it in the classroom. But when you do, it doesn't like get the outcome you want because the students doesn't like them anymore. Like for example, like a few years ago, I think fidget spinners were a huge trend. Like everyone had fidget spinners, everybody bought fidget spinners, and it was popular for a couple of months, and then it just died. Like the trend just died, and nobody talked about fidget spinners anymore right now. So like as a teacher, you may like come across an article about fidget spinners, about how kids these days are all buying fidget spinners, and you think, oh, this is a nice topic to use in a lesson. So you take the topic and then you make a lesson about it, and then you think that your students will be interested and will like to participate in class. But it's the opposite. They say like it's boring and stuff. So yeah, because like trends constantly change, it's hard to find like what your students are interested in. And then the third point is teachers find it hard to understand students, especially like if you're like a different generation. Like for example, earlier I said like I'm a Generation Z and my brother is Generation Alpha, but I do not understand him sometimes. Like when he comes up to me and then he explains like, oh, in Fortnite right now there's a upcoming season. They have new weapons. They have new characters. I'm always like, okay, yeah, yeah. But like deep down, I don't really understand what he's saying. It's hard because like different generations, different people, they have different interests. So like as a teacher, sometimes you may not understand what this younger generation is talking about. Like especially if you're like imagine like if you're in your 40s and then you're listening to a like 12-year-old talk about this new game that you have no idea what it's about. So yeah, that's really hard for you to like comprehend overall. Even if you're not a teacher, if you're just like an ordinary person, that's like a rough topic for you to comprehend basically. So like if you're a teacher and then like you want to find like interest, it's quite hard because like you don't really understand your students. So the last point is not every student share the same interests. So like if you have like a class of 30, sometimes 40 in Malaysia, not every student share the same interest. Like maybe some would be very into like video games, and then there's another group that's into like superheroes, and then another group is into pop culture. So like when finding a suitable topic, you want to make sure like the topic is well known enough so that everyone can enjoy it. You don't want to like take a topic about like superheroes and only have like a few people in that classroom be excited about the lesson, and then the rest is just like following without really paying much attention. So yeah, that's a hard thing to do, especially with this generation where everyone is online, so they have their own interests, they have their own ways to find what they like. So yeah, that's it for finding students' interests.
Hey guys, Commercial Azian here. Sorry for bothering you. I know you were paying very much attention to the live stream, but I would like to take this opportunity to insert a educational commercial about why you should drink more water. I hope you gain much knowledge from this commercial. Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you learned a lot from that commercial, and I hope after this presentation you will go to your kitchen and grab yourself a glass of water to drink. Now let's continue with this presentation with my third point, which is figuring appropriate assessments is a challenge when teaching Generation Z. Now, why do I say this? It's because Generation Z are more skilled than the previous generation. And I think this is basically a fact because Generation Z, they grow up in an environment, in a setting where they use like technology a lot. So when it comes to Generation Z, they know how to like shoot videos, they know how to edit videos, they know how to take pictures, edit pictures. They grew up in a situation where like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok is a thing. So like if they want to create content, they have to have skills in editing and shooting. And like personally, me myself as a Generation Z, I remember like back when I was like 14, 15, like a student, I remember like Tumblr was a thing. So basically, Tumblr is a blog website. And like in Tumblr, if you want to make your blog pretty or like look cool, you have to like design it by coding. So like so basically like 14-year-old Asian learn coding just because she wanted her blog to look nice. So like for like the previous generation, coding is basically something you learn in universities. Like you learn as an adult. Like they don't really like learn coding as a teenager because like why would you learn coding? Like you don't need to use coding. So that's why I say like Generation Z are very more skilled like than like adults basically, because like the things they learn is basically like things they need to know, like videos, shooting, like editing. So it's hard to like include technology in assessments for teachers, especially the older teachers, when they themselves don't know how to use these technology. So like you want a assessment that challenge your students. So if you just do something like, for example, like you give the students pen and paper and then ask them to create a poster about adopting animals, that's not very challenging to them. Like these students are very skilled, like they know how to produce items. So if you do give them something easy like that, it's not very good for them. You're not like enhancing any skills whatsoever to them. So like that's hard because you want to make sure all the assessments you give, all the assignments you give, are like suitable for the students' skills and they can actually learn something from it. So it's hard. And then my last point is students have different expertise. So like in a class of 30, some may know how to like edit videos, and then some might know how to like produce a website, and then like you have others that may know how to shoot videos. So like when choosing assignments, you want to make sure the appropriate assignment is fair for everyone. So that assignment is not like easy for some, but hard for others. So that's like a hard thing to do because like ideally there is no way like an assignment is fair and equal to everyone. Like each student will have their own quirk or like their own expertise. So like as a teacher, that's very hard because you can't just like do traditional assignments anymore. Like back in the old days, you would just like give a student a topic and then you would ask them to write an essay. That's different from Generation Z because like if you do that to Gen Z, they would go back home, they will open their computer or laptop, and then they would just like find articles about that topic and then write the essay, which is not very challenging at all. So as a teacher, you have to like change everything up. Maybe like instead of like making essays, you give them the topic and then like ask them, okay, you go back home, you research this topic, and then create or produce a video about it, like a creative video, and then show it to the class the next day. So like that's the difference between like generation. Like even the assessments are different. So moving on to our last point, which is handling plagiarism. Now plagiarism is something that has always been around like for ages, but it's very like plagiarism has increased in numbers with Generation Z because we live in a society where everything is online. So like even studying for stuff topics is available everywhere. You can just like take it easily. So students, they often copy materials online, and it's hard for teachers to know whether or not like they is this a original idea from them or is this something they took online. Because most like in Malaysia, you don't really like submit assignments like through like certain websites such as Google or Google. I think the Google Classroom, yeah, Google Classroom. So if they submit stuff through Google Classroom, maybe you can check for plagiarism. But if they hand in like hard copies of essays, there's no way you can like check whether or not it's plagiarized unless you go on Google and you type in word by word, which is something teachers won't do because they do not have the time to do that, especially if you have like 30 students. So yeah, that's a challenge when teaching Gen Z. And Gen Z, they pay people to do that work, which is which is I don't know if it's like something that has been around for long, but I've known people that had like other people do their work and then like they pay them. So like as a teacher, this is a challenge because like there's no way you can know specifically unless like you have one student like hand in a work and then like another student like has something similar, and then you have to investigate, which takes a lot of time. Like teachers, they don't really have like the most time. They are busy with work. So if you have like a situation like that, most teachers would just like pretend they do not see and then move on. So yeah, when it comes to plagiarism, that is a challenge. And like the I think the third and the fourth point is like related. So like students, they don't know about plagiarism, and because of this they take sources online without citing. So like personally, me as a student myself, I remember when I was in high school, I did not know about plagiarism at all. I did not know that if you go online and then if you take somebody's essay and turn it in to your teacher, that's wrong. I only learned about plagiarism when I entered university, when my lecturer said that, oh, if you take this and then you put it in your assignment without citing, it's wrong because it's not your idea, it's somebody else. So you have to make sure you properly cite the owner. So I didn't know at all that whatever I did back in school was wrong. So I think this is the same with a lot of students these days as well. So I think this is something the school should handle. I think they should have classes or like frequently have talks or forum about plagiarism, so students will know that if they take videos or pictures online without referencing where they got it, like the websites they receive them, it's wrong. It's very, very wrong. So yeah, as a teacher, like Generation Z, especially like where everything is online and easy to grab, plagiarism is a hard thing to handle. So yeah, before I end my presentation, here is a quote from one of my most favorite philosophers, Aristotle. So the quote goes, "Teachers who educate children deserve more honor than parents who merely gave them birth. For the latter provided mere life, while the former ensured a good life." So yeah, that's it for the presentation.
So yeah, that was my presentation. Thank you everyone that stayed throughout the whole live stream, and I hope you gain a lot of info and knowledge based on whatever I just said, based on all my points. So before I end the live stream, here is a short sketch I did on Plotagon. I hope you guys enjoy it. Bye!
Okay class, it's time to start the lesson now. Please put away all your phones.
Teacher, are we going to watch a video today?
A video again? We already did that yesterday.
Why not again? Videos are interesting.
Videos are just 5 minutes of boringness. We should do something fun for a change, like doing quizzes on Kahoot.
You only like playing Kahoot because you get to show off how smart you are.
That hurts, you know. Just because you're not smart enough doesn't mean we shouldn't do it.
Well, just because you're the smartest doesn't mean we should follow whatever you say.
Walter and Jesse, please stop fighting right now. Don't make me send you to the principal's office.
Okay teacher.
Whatever.
This is what a teacher faces every day when teaching Gen Z. Us teachers really do have it hard. I hope the live stream earlier would help you understand better. Oh well. Thank you for watching and have a good day.